Yep, Donald Trump, he had 7 different sets of people lie and send in fake electoral votes to Congress. He told his vice president that he wanted him to choose the fake electoral votes. He went by a plot hatched by Eastman. We've all seen the memo. We've all seen what they tried to do. And when that failed, he tried to use violence to encourage Pence to flip the vote. When that failed, and he reluctantly accepted it, and he tweeted out, okay, guys, you can go home. That's why they left at 6 o'clock, by the way, not because they had to be home for dinner, but because Donald Trump finally begrudgingly got on his Twitter account and made that announcement that they needed to go home. After all of that, Donald Trump's defense for himself wasn't to say, I didn't do this. It wasn't to say that, well, what I was doing wasn't bad. It wasn't to say, well, they got some of the facts wrong. What he did was he went before the Supreme Court and he said, I need criminal immunity from every action that I just did. I need criminal immunity. If I wasn't impeached for it, you can't hold me criminally liable for it. I think that speaks more to the nature of the actions that Donald Trump did than any excuse you can make for him on any platform that you're on.
That's not it. I mean, you realize this same standard basically applies to business executives, like the business judgment rule. As chief executive, he's allowed to investigate. Yeah, you're allowed to. If you are going to have every decision you make attacked, you cannot govern a government and you cannot run a business. Election integrity issues existed, whether you want to believe they do or not. They're still popping their head literally in the last couple of weeks.
I'm sorry.
So yes, it did fall under his official duty.
Yeah,
correct.
So you're saying business leaders can't be charged with crimes? They
No,
enjoy
that's not my point.
absolute criminal immunity? So you're saying that maybe it's good.
It's called, no, you're not listening. It's going over your head. It's pretty sad.
No, it's not.
You give certain deference that can be argued as an executive decision under business, or here as an executive running a government, because you have to give deference to certain decisions.
We don't. You actually
yes,
don't need to give. You don't need to give criminal deference. You don't need to have criminal deference given. There isn't criminal deference given to business leaders. You don't need to give criminal deference ever. You know why? Because criminal laws exist for a good reason, and the public has an interest in not only other members of the public not committing crimes, but especially in the leader of the public, the president of the United States, not committing crimes. I don't believe that he needs deference because committing crimes
crime did he commit?
is not in the purview.
Talking about January 6th. What crime did he commit?
Well, we're not allowed to talk about them now, I guess.
Then it's a celebration. Congratulations. Enjoy the moment.
I guess,
Relax.
yeah, it is. No, I'm good. I actually personally don't like to exist under a man who believes that he's above criminal court. Because you know what? When you take a man and you make him a king, what's the way that you get rid of the king? How do you say that this isn't turning up the violence?
Who made him a king? You made him a martyr.
He's not a martyr. He's not dead. Excuse me. He's not dead, right? You know that he's actually not dead, right? You know Trump's still alive, right?
Yeah, you could still be a martyr and undergo a number of shit without actually dying. You know, it's possible.
I don't think that Trump is a martyr, okay, because he had a bloody ear. I
think my point is that you've made him.
No, I think the Supreme Court made him. When the Supreme Court said that he's beyond criminal, when he's beyond criminal probing,
the polls don't agree with you. There's been multiple polls. You can scream. There's been multiple polls. America agrees with me. You're in the minority. They view this as politically weaponized pursuit of Trump under the judicial system.
That's great because people like you lie about it, and that's great, and that's why I'm here. That's fine. That's why I'm here fighting for it. You think hold on, wait. I thought we didn't agree. I thought we didn't agree with the polls. Now we agree on the polls. That's great. I can be in the minority and say that I don't actually appreciate an insurrection in the United States. Maybe a majority of Americans do support that now.
You called it a riot before. Nobody's been charged with insurrection.
I said that it was a riot. It was a riot. It was a riot that was trying to obstruct the certification of the vote. That makes it an insurrection. Just like a stabbing of somebody with the intent to kill them makes it attempted murder.
Well, then why haven't they charged it, and why hasn't the Supreme Court disagrees with you? I'm confused. Why haven't they charged it?
I don't believe the Supreme Court has made a ruling on whether or not Donald Trump was guilty of any of the crimes he was charged with.
The most significant felony charge they said should not apply in this instance.
That's great. I don't think that whether or not Donald Trump has engaged in insurrection isn't really material to a lot of the questions relating to the current cases that he's facing. For instance, for the New York one that just got tossed, that wasn't even mainly about the willful retention of national defense secrets. It was mainly about the obstruction, but that's tossed now. The question isn't, did he incite a riot or did he engage in insurrection? I think wisely, I think Jack Smith avoided a lot of those questions because what probably was a lot harder to convict on those things and gets us into really weird First Amendment territory. But the fact that we can't even speak about the conspiracy to defraud the United States, we can't speak about that conspiracy where he made a plan from start to finish to carry out an insurrection, I think is a tragedy to the American people.
Yeah, think tanks and lawyers can give advice. I mean, I'm sure you've read about what Podesta's plan was for 2020, right? He was going to have an alternate slate of electors. He was going to wait for Oregon or California.
Oh, yeah? Who carried that out?
Yeah, you've read that.
I mean, you're well read. Who carried that out? Who carried that out?
But you don't,
who carried that out?
Understand.
Prodigal, who carried that out? Who carried that out?
Just like you had a novel legal thing. Those riots stopped that.
Who carried that out? Who carried out the Podesta plan? Who carried out the Podesta plan?
It should have been sent back to the states to ensure the integrity.
No, that's not
the
what
riot
that's for.
actually
That's not
ended
what the
that. As
certification
soon
is
as the
for.
riot happened, anybody with a brain knew this is over. Nobody's going to touch it. So you're pointing to this as if this was the plan of Trump supporters. I'm telling you right now, I'm a Trump supporter, and anybody who saw violence on the Capitol that day knew as soon as that occurred that any of the concerns they had about election integrity were over. And that's what we saw. We saw a number of reps and other senators who would have voted to say, it's the truth, who would have voted to say, let the states double check this and ensure it's right. They couldn't do it no longer at that point. And you're well aware. You're well aware. You can look at the Washington Post.
Who tried to carry out the Podesta plan that you brought up? Can you tell me who? Why don't you just answer that simple question? Can you just answer that? You can keep rambling. Just answer that question. Who tried to carry out Podesta's plan?
Well, they ended up stopping voting and winning, so they didn't have to.
Who ended up? Right? Oh, so nobody? They didn't try. How could they have executed the plan when the votes are being certified if they didn't do it in advance?
So you're saying Trump's plan was to have a riot so that Congress would never hear any of the issues. That's what you're arguing the logic was?
Yes,
that's
it was
what
to pressure Pence to make the right choice.
That was not the plan.
Then what did Trump mean? What was Trump telling people to encourage Pence to do? What did he mean by that?
What did he mean? Peacefully heard.
Yes, thank you for repeating that. What were they trying to pressure Pence for? Hey, Prodigal, what were they trying to pressure Pence to do? Answer that question. What were they trying to pressure?
To consider a valid legal theory, in my opinion. That's
a valid legal theory. If it
wasn't
theory,
one that if it wasn't valid, they wouldn't have to have passed the law. Can I say one thing? If it wasn't valid, they wouldn't have had to pass a fucking law to say you can no longer do this.
That's not
so it
how
was
laws
a viable
work
theory.
At all. No.
That's not true. They didn't
theory,
pass that.
Their
what
theory,
are you talking
their
about?
theory relied on the ECA being unconstitutional.
No, I'm talking about after the election.
All right, let's screaming multi-communication. Jesus Christ.
Did Congress outlaw this novel legal theory after the election? That is yes.
No.
So if it wasn't viable, should I post it up top? Do I need to?
You can't outlaw something. Eastman's entire plot was contrived.
They changed the certification process. They passed new laws regulating this.
Eastman's entire plot hinged on the idea that they could challenge the constitutionality of established law. Constitutionality exists above the law.
Peacefully,
the fact that peaceful doesn't matter when you're trying to overturn the election results.
Matter?
But anyway, just to be clear, fuck you. The guy that got shot at the rally. This is why I don't give a fuck about showing sympathy. This is why I don't give a. This is why I don't give a fuck about the sympathy for any of you losers, because you won't own up to anything.
Don't take it out on me because your wife left you,
Fester. Nobody is talking about
all
my access.
All right. Everybody calm down. Jesus.
You got the skin complexion of Uncle Fester. Go worry about your
ex-wife. That's great, and you've got the voice tone of a guy with an A1C of 15, okay? Good for you.
That's fine. Listen, I don't even know what that means. God bless.
I'm sure you don't. That's why your feet are about to fall off, dipshit. Oh, he muted me again.
Okay, oh my God!
Listen, all I'm saying is,
go play some video games and talk about Israel. You got nothing else to add.
Yeah, and go obsess over trans people for another years while you obsess over which light beer you decide not to drink. Okay?
Yeah, when my next generation of my family is having to play against them and having scholarships taken away because they're actually good in ball and sports. I know you might not play that. Then it affects them.
Yeah, and when the next generation of your family can't play sports because they're all inbred, okay? We can talk about that too, all right? Listen,
no, I doubt that.
If conservatives are unwilling to take responsibility, even for January 6th, of which there's more documented evidence than like any other fucking event in all of fucking human history, I'm good on being held to any standard by these people. That's my entire argument. So thank you for bringing up the political substance of it. Any final questions?
Well, listen, I'm happy you want to sexualize prepubescent children. That's
really weird and really gross. The only
when
one
they have record low testing scores.
That's really weird. All right, do you think about sexualizing prepubescent people?
So how do we get into this? Okay, how did we get into this? Let's not get into that.
Yeah, kind of weird, really strange.
It's your party.
Okay, let's not talk about anything child related. How about that?
Yeah, that'd probably be good. Prodigal really wants to go there though.
What the fuck?